In the clamor of our daily lives, it's easy to miss the gentle whispers of God. Amidst this noise, God often speaks to us in the quiet moments. Just as a gentle breeze rustles the leaves, God's voice often comes as a soft whisper. In such a world, the slightest sound would be amplified, the smallest whisper easily heard. It's in the quiet moments when we create space for Him that we can discern His guidance. He speaks not in shouts, but in whispers, and we must cultivate the stillness to hear Him. The story of Samuel's call is a powerful example of God speaking in the stillness. A young boy serving in the temple under Eli, Samuel was awakened by a voice calling his name. He initially mistook it for Eli's voice and went to him, but Eli realized it was God speaking. Samuel's willingness to listen and obey is key. He didn't dismiss the voice as a dream or imagination. This openness to hearing God's voice is essential for us. In Samuel's time, direct communication from God was a rare occurrence. The Bible tells us that the word of the Lord was rare in those days. There was no widespread revelation. This makes Samuel's experience even more significant. In a world where divine communication was uncommon, Samuel's encounter was a truly extraordinary event. The rarity of God's direct intervention in those days underscores the significance of Samuel's call. It wasn't a common occurrence for God to speak so clearly and directly. The scarcity of divine revelation in Samuel's time makes his encounter with God a pivotal moment in biblical history. It marks a turning point in the relationship between God and His people, and it sets the stage for Samuel's future role as a prophet and leader. Preparing our hearts, Samuel's posture. Samuel's closeness to God and his willingness to serve played a crucial role in his ability to hear God's voice. He was already positioned to receive divine communication because of his devotion and obedience. This reminds us that our spiritual posture matters. The more we cultivate a heart attuned to God, the more likely we are to discern His whispers. Samuel's dedication to serving in the temple demonstrates his commitment to God. This posture of humility and service created a fertile ground for God's voice to take root and grow. This openness and willingness to listen are key ingredients in discerning God's voice in our own lives. Finding stillness in a noisy world. Applying Samuel's experience to our modern lives requires intentionality. We live in a world saturated with noise and distractions. Creating space for God requires discipline and a conscious effort to unplug from the constant barrage of information. It means setting aside time for quiet reflection, prayer, and engaging with Scripture. These practices create the stillness where God's voice can be heard. Making time for silence, even for a few minutes each day, can make a profound difference in our ability to hear His voice. Even small changes can make a big difference in creating space for God to speak.